Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Boxing Week edition of the Canada Immigration Live Q&A. Alicia is away today. I've got Igor with me. How are you doing, Igor?
I'm well. How are you, Mark?
I'm doing great. So, was Santa good? Did he find your house? Did he get his reindeer safely landed on your house there?
Oh, yes, yeah. I would say on my balcony, not
On
in
your
my house.
balcony, it was a tight fit, was it?
Oh, yes.
That's awesome. That's great. Well, hopefully you guys all have had a really wonderful Christmas here as we're right in the midst of the holiday season. Normally we don't do live streams, but I'm full on recording something that I'm really, really excited about. And that is our brand new, what I call, let's see if we can find the right screen here. This right here, our new Express Entry Accelerator. So many of you that have subscribed to the course in the past, the 2021 version, know that over the last few years, we've updated a few lessons here and there, but we were due for a complete overhaul. And so I am about halfway through recording the video lessons, and we are offering a special pre-sale, which I don't normally do, as you guys know, of 50% off the new Express Entry Accelerator. And there's going to be over 65 individual lessons, everything from updated tier content on how to find your correct knock. There's information on the category-based draws. There's my thoughts on even coming and immigrating to Canada, given the world we're in. So all of this is going to be here, and you can access this. And I think, I'm not sure, Igor, maybe you can post in the chat the link, or we can put it in the description. I'm not sure if we've done that. But if you go to the Canadian Immigration Institute, just go to the main site, you will have access to that. And those who are a part of our email list, you'll also get an email notification about it. But it's right here on the main screen. And all you need to do is just click on that link, and then you can enroll now. And we will have released the first two. You can see this one here. You just have to punch in. Let's see, is there a coupon code here? Right here. So this is where you put in your coupon code, and that coupon code is right here, Accelerator, right here, EE Accelerator. And we'll just punch it in, and I'll show you what it does here. So if you punch that in here, and you paste it, and then you redeem it, it gives you $173.50 US off of the regular price. So yeah, we're doing it just as a big promotion of the new, and I call it Accelerator for a reason. It's designed to help you get through this process as quickly as possible. And yeah, it's something I'm really, really excited about. And our masterclass, our first masterclass associated with the new course, will go from January the 15th to the 18th. So stay tuned for that. But I am really, really excited about that. This is, it's been well overdue. And yes, anyone who has purchased the previous version, the 2021 version, will get access to this free charge. And that's how it works when you purchase it. So I'd let everybody know. All right, with this wonderful Christmas festivities that we have going on here, let's jump in and let's see who is tuning in. We've got Vishvesh. Hello, Vishvesh. Good to have you connecting in. And let's see, who else do we have here? We have Moise. He says, hey, Mark, great to see you. Good to see you as well. We got Tasman. Hello. Anna Tasman. Good to have you here. Anastasia, how are you? I hope things are going well for you guys. Good morning. She says, happy holidays. Happy holidays to you as well. All right, let's see here. So Camby says, I got an ITA. I am a mariner. What all countries of travel to show in travel history record? You're going to have to use your letter of explanation, my friend, as a guide, because all of your trips are going to be massive. So generally what we do in those situations, Camby, is we will use the letter of explanation to outline that, hey, on my cruise trip, we travel to these countries periodically, and over the last 10 years, these are all the countries that I've been to. And if you require further information, let me know. And if there's a way to try to identify a little bit closer the timing when you were in different countries, then you obviously are going to do it. But yep, this is a challenge. But congratulations on getting your invitation to apply. That's awesome. Okay, and then Anna says, I got my e-Cooper on December 20th. When can I expect my PR card? Take a look at the processing times. Whenever we're doing this, we always just jump over and we can see the
It's
processing times. And
58
generally,
days, Mark.
how long is it, Igor?
58 days.
58 days. So when you go to the check processing times here, all you do is you drop down menu permanent resident cards, and this is your first card, and there it is, 58 days. So there we have it. All right, let's see what else we have here. We've got Tianyu. Hello, Merry Christmas to you, Tianyu. Thank you for connecting in. We've got K Pues K. Good morning, Mark and Igor. Greetings from Southern Alberta. That's awesome. So where are you in Southern Alberta? Are you real Southern Alberta, like south of Calgary, my territory? Are you in Calgary where Igor is? We'd love to hear how that's all working. Okay, Krishna says, I watched your accelerated tech pathway video. It was so helpful. And I now got an ITA last week. I believe I meet all the eligibility criteria except the salary scale. How to explain this? Krishna, you need to. Let's see if we've got, I think this is what we usually do, you guys. We ring that, that's the triangle. You really need to slide over to our firm website right here and click on this speak to a lawyer and book an immigration consultation with one of us. Alicia's got her schedule kind of blocked off for time with family, but Igor and I, we've got our calendars open. So if you want to book a consult, you can do that. But yeah, when it comes to that, you definitely need to talk about it because the requirements are there for a reason. And ultimately, when you receive an invitation to apply through the accelerated tech pathway, now I'm not sure if it's a notification of interest that you received or if it's actually an ITA from Express Entry, but we can talk about that in a consult. Okay, Joe says here, hey, Mark and Igor, great to catch you guys live. Excellent. Great to have you here as well. Okay, Umair is connected in here on Facebook, and he says, does your company deal in work visas? Well, we assist with work, the preparation and submission of work permits. Absolutely, we do. I think a lot of you by now are probably aware that Alicia and I, and Igor has also done some episodes with me, but we have our Canadian Immigration Podcast. And if you go back historically and you look at all the episodes, if we were to go back, and I'm sure we have to go to another screen to get to them. Yes, if we go next here, this is how many episodes that we've generated over just the last little bit here. But if you go back all the way to, wow, I have to go back a whole nother page here. 103, if you go back to right here, 100, this is where we start our business immigration series. And so if you guys are wondering, how does this whole foreign worker program work in Canada? We'll start with episode 100 and work your way forward because we cover just about every aspect of the foreign worker program you could imagine. And we talk about the LMIA process. We talk about transitioning to permanent residence, compliance and what employers need to do to make sure that, they're not abusing the rules, a whole bunch of things, topics that you can cover here. And we've even got some QET content here that Igor and I put together. Right in the midst of everyone applying for those QET visas. So there's just a ton of content here. I recommend that you check that out. And especially when it comes to work visas, we help companies and individuals apply for those work permits. But what we do not do is match individuals with companies. We don't do that at this stage. Although if you are a heavy equipment operator, yeah, we can assist with that because we've got a companies looking to hire individuals. Okay, thanks, Mark. Mark seems to be really fresh today. Well, I am. I had a good sleep last night. It's been a wonderful vacation, I guess. Kind of. I haven't really taken too many days off, but it's been pretty fun. And I think what's gotten me excited, literally, is the creation of this course. I love, as a former teacher, I absolutely love building out these courses. And boy, if I could show you, the content, literally I've got 65 lessons and I'm, like I said, I'm slowly building them out. because I want them to be just unbelievable. So when I say I'm just about completed, the Express Entry profile. So going through all those lessons on putting your profile together, which is really the most important component of anything within Express Entry, because if you got that wrong, then, well, you're going to be in rough shape. So you absolutely have to make sure that you're. I'm just trying to log in here as I'm talking here. You have to absolutely make sure that you have all your documents ready, that you've got all the information set up properly. Because if you don't, then what happens is you end up having to fix things after you get your ITA, and sometimes that can be a problem. I'm just trying to log into my account here, and hopefully it will show all of our amazing products. There we go. And I just want to show you the back end of this so you can kind of have a general idea of what I'm working through as you build out. And I've never really shown the back end of this, but I'm just going to flip it around and I'll show you guys. So this is my view within Kajabi, the program that we created. And so you can see here that these are all the modules: learning the basics. We've got lessons on Express Entry in a nutshell, how the CRS works, various case scenarios, examples, as well as Francophone applicants, what happens if you speak French, and how big of an advantage it is. Determining your eligibility for Express Entry. So we talk about registering for your GC key and the secure account, Federal Skilled Worker Program, the Canadian Experience Class, eligibility, and how to set things up. And then Module 3 is all about the profile. So each of these is broken down. If you're a single individual applicant, then you only need the lessons for the principal applicant, which goes through setting up your profile, all of the sections within the Express Entry profile for an individual. But if you have a spouse, we have a section specifically for spouses. And you'll see within profile, there's nothing for dependent children because they're not covered yet. And then finalizing and submitting your profile and how to improve your CRS score. And then Module 4 is all about completing the EAPR, which has the same sections, except you'll see for the principal applicant, now we have the personal history section, which contains a bunch of questions about your travel history and your personal history, and the same thing for an accompanying spouse. And we even, for dependent children, I'm literally trying to leave no stone unturned. We have sections if your dependent child is minor, but sometimes dependent children are adult. And then there's other sections associated with that. Then we've got the document checklist, which we still are dealing with this checklist glitches. So I've got a special video talking about that, generating your document checklist, previewing your CRS score. And then my favorite of all is the mastering your document section, which has as a lesson alone on just understanding how this whole section works, but an individual lesson on every single type of document that you could need, as well as sample documents, templates, a whole bunch of other tools to help you make sure each of your sections are, your documents are perfect, as well as a detailed how to create a letter of explanation. And then we have a section on submitting your EAPR. And when you get a request letter from IRCC, how do you deal with that? Then request for passport and landing if you're outside Canada versus inside Canada, and then a section on PR cards and maintaining PR status. So there's 65 lessons that we have here. This is the content in the course. And then, of course, like we've indicated in the past, we always have the master classes where you can come and get any other questions that you want answered. And if you can't make this master class coming up January 15th, you have the ability to come back as many times as you want in the future. And we have a community group where you can post questions, where you can share insight, talk about your experiences. It's just, yeah, so much fun. So I know I took a little bit of time there, but the reality is this whole Express Entry Accelerator, up until December 31st, this is the first time I've done it in a long time, you can get 50% off for that course. All right, let's get back to answering some more questions here. Okay, let's see. We've got, we'll give a couple more shout outs. Rose says, good wishes and blessings. Thanks, Rose. Great to have you here. Let's see who else we can give some quick shout outs to. Kumar, Merry Christmas to you as well. And let's see who else we have here. We've got Sai. Hello, Sai. Great to have you. And I'd love to hear where you're tuning in from, you guys. I love to see where all over the world people are watching this. Um, my vlogs vlog. Hey, Mark. Okay, Taz Meme says, "Are you able to help with my parents?" We can and do assist with super visas and individuals that have received the notification, basically from IRCC, an invitation to submit parental applications. We also assist with those as well. Okay, I think we have hit on just about everyone, Igor. I don't think we're missing anyone else. We've got Jenny
Yeah.
here. Merry Christmas to you. And okay, all right, let's go back to the top and let's start plowing through some of these questions. Let's see here. Okay, so this one's from Sam. Sam says, "Hi, I've applied for my student visa on the 1st of August. I had deferred September 2023 intake already and still waiting. Kindly guide me. What should I do?" What are your thoughts, Igor, when people are just stuck? Like August 2023, applying for a student visa and then deferring, obviously, the admission because the study permit hasn't come back yet. Still kindly waiting. What would you advise people who are stuck in this situation?
Yeah. First of all, I'm sorry to hearing that you didn't get your study permit in time, and that you have to go through all of these hardship. But one thing that I would do first is request the GCMS notes, just to try to see what the officer was doing on your file and what was the reason for the delay. It is possible that they are doing some background checks. It is possible that there was any complication that the officer assigned to your file was not able to resolve, and he escalated the file to his supervisor, which may take some more time. So you just want to know what exactly is happening and why they have not given you the decision yet. And then once you have the GCMS notes, then you can see whether the file was just sitting in a long drawer and they were not working on your file at all, or they have been actively working on your file, and the recent update was that they opened the file and then they had to do some more checks. So you want to see what was happening there, and then depending on what you see in the GCMS, you would either continue waiting, or you would consider filing a mandamus application if that's an unreasonable delay.
Great answer, Igor. Now, Igor's screen is freezing up a little bit here, but I think everybody should be able to hear his audio okay. I think your bandwidth maybe has got a little bit of issue, but that's okay. We'll keep soldiering forward here.
Let me see.
All right, so let's see. So
I'll close every application on my computer right now.
sure, that's fine, Igor. The most important thing is we can hear your answers, which is great. Okay, Moya says, after AOR, and how many days are people getting medical requests and biometric requests? Okay, so this type of a question becomes a little bit challenging, you guys, because is it express entry AOR? Is it through the PR portal? We just don't know. Ultimately, the biometric requests do tend to come a little bit quicker. In some cases, we've seen them come in days or weeks after filing. But there has really been no way of tracking exactly what's happening because everything is just a mess within IRCC. Medicals, those requests typically come later on after they've confirmed that you've passed eligibility, that there's no issues with your application, then they'll send the medical request. So that usually doesn't happen until near the end of processing, which is you can just go to the IRCC processing list and it will show you how long it typically takes application. So for example, express entry is around 5 months, and it is possible that you don't see your medical request until that 4-month mark, depending on where they're at. So it really depends
Mark,
on the situation. Yep.
I can add one more thing,
Sure.
which is a solution that might help some people. There's a website called myimmagetracker.com where people share their own personal timelines, and it might make sense for you just to go there and check the processing times and at what stage people got their request for biometrics and for medicals, and you can compare it, compare your timelines with other people's timelines. It's not a reliable source.
Hmm.
As reliable, I would say, as an official source, but it might give you some idea as to when things will be happening for you. And obviously, it's really case specific. Sometimes it may take 2 years to get your application processed. For some people, it may take a couple of months only. So it's all relative.
Gotcha. I'm just going to flip it over here, Igor. Is this the one you're talking about, or is it a different one?
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah.
This is the
So
one?
this is the
Okay.
one. And then if you scroll down a little, so you
Yep.
can see it applies to different countries like Australia and then US. And if I'm not mistaken, US, Canada. And so for Canada, you can also check, for example, Canadian citizenship. That's the one that I'm checking right now. And then
Yep.
Ukrainian family sponsorship, they also have a tracker over there.
Excellent.
And they also
Excellent.
have trackers for different PNPs, CC, FSW, all different sorts of applications.
Perfect. That's great. Good tip, Igor. Good tip. All right. Next question. Yeah, I'm not sure what's wrong with your video. It's just kind of freezing and sticking, but we can hear you. So I don't think there's any, like, you could drop off and try to reconnect, but I think we can just keep soldiering forward. It's probably just fine.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Let's see what we have next here. This one, oh, let's see here. We'll pull this one up for Amara. Amara says, "Hey, Mark, I am very grateful for your support and helping through your advice you freely give to your followers on the channel for so many years. I and my wife are permanent residents awaiting the card." That is awesome. I think I've got some applause here that we can pull up. So congratulations, Amara. That is so awesome. I love hearing that positive news. Absolutely love it. All right. Let's see what's next here. Okay, so Igor, let's pull this up. So Monsoon says, the Monsoon Winter says, "What is the time frame you're seeing for citizenship applications for your clients?" I looked online, it says 9 months, but not sure if it happens that fast. What are your thoughts on this, Igor? You've got your own citizenship application in the queue. Oh, looks like we lost Igor. That's okay. So so we'll pull this one back. Monsoon, when Igor comes back, I'll highlight this one and then we'll pull it back. Oh, looks like he's already coming back. Let's pull him in. All right. What do you think? Looks like it's okay. All right. So here's the question from Monsoon Winter. And given the fact you're going through your own citizenship application, it says, "What's the time frame you're seeing for citizenship applications for your clients?" I looked online. It says 9 months, but not sure if it happens that fast. What are your thoughts?
So we've submitted our citizenship application in April, and we've passed our test in June, and still don't have any updates. So what I did for our application, I've submitted the GCMS notes just to check what was happening with our file and why it takes so long. On the other hand, I have a couple of friends who submitted their application a couple of months before we did. They've submitted their application in January and they've got their citizenship approved in October. So about 9 months for them. And they had their passport in November. So it, again, really depends on specific situation.
Excellent. All right. Here's one from Nana, which is very common. She says, "Season's greetings, Mark. I'm a PNP applicant. My application was updated to final decision December 6th and need COPR details updated on the tracker, but I haven't received passport request. Is this normal?" All I can say is yes, it's 100% normal. And we are seeing a lot of people who are stuck in this vortex where they're just not able to get the instructions to finalize their permanent residence, but their tracker shows that everything is completed. And this is a known issue within IRCC, and I wish I could give you some advice or some direction on how to deal with this. But Nana, you're just in a waiting period. There's literally not much that you can do other than be patient and wait. We've had some clients that have been stuck for up to 2 months waiting for that after the tracker shows that everything has been the final decision has been made. So unfortunately, that is just kind of the world that we're dealing with. Unfortunately. Okay, Sarah. Oh, Sarah, this doesn't sound good. This does not sound good, Sarah. Hi, Mark and Igor. If someone gets a 5-year ban from applying to Canada, does the ban also affect the sponsor from applying to Canada for that period? Okay, so Sarah, we will definitely need some more information on this. I don't know in what context this 5-year ban was issued. Was it in the context of a permanent resident application? Was it a sponsorship itself? Really, whenever you're in this type of a situation, I encourage you to book a consult, and we basically click the little triangle here and say slide over and book a consult, because I seriously don't know, Sarah. I need more information to understand exactly how the 5-year ban was applied. All right. Okay, let's hit on the Stoic. So Gordon from Kenya says, I have a fiance who recently immigrated to Canada via a visit visa. Okay, so they didn't immigrate to Canada, they're here temporarily. She then applied for asylum. Oh, and completed. When will she receive a call? This one is outside of our wheelhouse, Gordon. We don't deal with refugee matters within our office. And so this is a question where I don't really have a lot of direction on the timing of actually, the adjudication of the asylum claim, the refugee claim. I don't know what the timelines are for that. Yeah, hopefully there's some solid grounds, because sometimes I see some representatives advising people to claim refugee status when they really don't have what's necessary to be successful with that claim. And I don't know what her claim would be from Kenya, but definitely just because the claim is made, some people think, oh, I can get an open work permit, I get health coverage, it's great. Well, the reality is it's not, because once that decision is made on that claim, if you don't have a well-founded fear of persecution from that country under one of the enumerated grounds, then your application is going to get rejected, and you're going to have a conditional deportation order, which is already in place pending the decision made on the actual refugee claim. You pretty much have to leave within, well, you do, within a very short period of time. And once you've made a refugee claim, you're pretty much done. So if it's successful, great, then wonderful. But if not, it really just closes off avenues in the future. So it's not my first thing that I would definitely advise anyone to do, unless there's clear overriding grounds for making the claim. Okay, let's see what is next. Okay, this one's from Ashna. Happy holidays. I will be finishing my 1 year of CEC experience in February of 2024, but I went to the US for 6 weeks. Should I file my PR application in February or in April 2024? Please advise. 100% April 2024. That's my advice to you, Ashna. And here's the reason. When you're completing the little wizard, when you use either the Come to Canada tool, and then you can get your code, or whether you go into your IRC secure account and then start setting up the eligibility for your actual, determining if you can get into the pool, it asks how many years of Canadian work experience do you have? Now, if you are someone, Ashna, who has federal skilled work experience, like foreign work experience, then you could get into the pool with just that foreign work experience. And you could then also indicate, that this is your current position in Canada. And once you hit the 1 year mark, then it automatically considers you for CEC. But if you don't have any other experience, then you'd actually have to lie on that application and say, I already have 1 year of experience, when you don't. And if you're outside of the country for 6 weeks and you weren't working, then you can't claim that as work experience in Canada. So Ashna, you can start preparing your portal. When I think it's valid, I think 60 days, I think, is how long the portal is open before it expires when you're completing your profile. But you can start preparing it in advance, but just understand that the actual 1 year mark, you don't want to submit the application before you hit that 1 year mark. All right. Okay, here we go. Sai says, it came to Canada on an H-1B work permit. That's the open work permit. I applied to my wife's work permit. She gave biometrics on October 18th, but since then, no progress in her application. Not surprising, Sai. This is a complete and total gong show. I wonder if I even have, let's see, do I have him? Yeah, there he is. Hey, look who showed up. Miller, and who else showed up? Oh, there's also Fraser. So we've got the two former minister who announced the H-1B and the current minister who is carrying forward with this debacle that we call the open H-1B work permit, because they never properly contemplated families. And when they rushed it through, Fraser was at this tech conference, I think Collision conference in Toronto, standing up there like he was some tech mogul, announcing all these these tech sector pathways to encourage people to come to Canada as tech, including the H-1B open work permit. But they just totally botched the application process. It was miserable. So I hear for you. I really I hear you, Sai. I understand the situation. There's not much you can do other than, like Igor identified before, which was to request GCMS notes. And so just to see why it's stuck or if there's some other issue. But remember, when it comes to applying for family, like if you come and have your work permit and then submit the application for your spouse, that's going to work. But lots of people have tried to submit their spouse before they've even come to Canada. And unless you actually have a job offer or are working in Canada, there's a strong likelihood that spousal open work permit won't be approved. So very frustrating. Very, very frustrating.
Check the processing times, because right now for inside Canada it's 122 days, and let me check for outside Canada. And then I understand your spouse is in the US. It's 17 weeks, so half a year.
17 weeks, and let's just slide right over here and take a look together. So processing times, temporary residence, we'll say work permit from outside Canada, because your spouse is outside Canada. And then if we just jump down here to the United States, and then we click on get processing times, 17 weeks processing. So it looks to me like October the 18th, you are well within the processing times and nothing is going quick from the US. Why have those processing times, why have they skyrocketed? Well, the 10,000 H-1B open work permits might have had something to do with that. Okay, let's see what is next here on our list. Yeah, I see here on Facebook, Arthur saying, hey, can you create a video on why the portal request could be delayed and virtual landings after eCoper, explaining everything about virtual landings back and forward, thanks. Arthur, it's not something I can even do because it's a freaking mystery. I have no clue why things are the way they are. I have no clue why the system is so glitchy. I don't know what the delays are. I'm no longer on the national executive of the Canadian Bar Association, so I don't have the same opportunity to ask these questions directly to immigration. I know the Canadian Bar Association has brought this up as an issue. We've posted, op-eds and different comments on the various immigration law organizations alerting immigration to this, but I don't know. As always, I pull it up and say, ask this guy right here. So why is it, Mr. Miller? Why is your systems and everything within the department such a freaking disaster? I don't know. I don't know. I've stopped trying to understand. I'm sorry you're stuck in this limbo. It's painful, ugly, but I don't have an answer. There's either incompetence or people just, they don't care. I don't think that's the case. And it might be that officers are overloaded and the volumes of things that they're working on are just so, overwhelming, which is entirely possible. And then my response to the government is then hire more officers or slow down on all these other programs that you've been launching, and then you don't have officers to handle them, which is usually the case. And that goes squarely to this guy and his department. If you don't have officers to process the existing applications, then slow down with all these big announcements on other programs. And I understand for political reasons, you're always trying to do what you can to help other countries, on the international stage. And I get it, that's fine. But you have to have the resources to process. Otherwise, people like Amara, like Arthur here, are just stuck, not knowing what the heck's going to happen. Okay, Amara says, if you have a charity where we can send money to support you, please let us know. You're a top-notch human, Mark, with an incredible amount of talent and knowledge, and I will hesitate And I will not hesitate, I think, to recommend you. That really means a lot, Amara. I appreciate that. The reality is it's all about paying it forward, right? So my goal is that with the people we help to come to Canada, they're good, decent human beings that are going to come and make the country a better place. If I could say, okay, what are some of the ways that people could pay it forward for me? It always comes down to the corruption that exists within the industry. If you know of someone from your country who is got a business, has got an ethnic restaurant or something like that, that is totally exploiting their fellow countrymen for job offers, or paying, taking 30 or 40,000, or some immigration consultant, or even a lawyer, heaven forbid, that you guys will have the courage to come forward and notify the authorities. In my world, this utopian world, the most amazing thing in the world that I would see is that every one of these crooked, no good for nothing exploiters would not only be shut down their businesses, but if they immigrated themselves, that they would lose their permanent residence and be sent back home. That's what I'd love. And if they're Canadians who are engaging in the exploitation of foreign workers, that they would literally be criminally charged and put in jail for corruption. That's what I would love. And so any individual who's going through this process that is aware of anyone else that's, even someone who's suffering, that they would encourage them to come forward and notify the authorities to clean up what has become a horrible, horrible racket. I know with over, how many hundreds of thousands, Igor, I don't even know how many, post-grad work permit holders or open work permit holders are floundering in Canada with no pathway to permanent residence, despite, and I'll pull this guy up again here, despite Minister Fraser saying how much he loved you guys when he was the immigration minister. The reality is you're now left to your own devices. And for most of you, you're simply going to have to go home. So the desperation for these job offers, for these LMIA-based job offers, is just off the charts. And so people are willing to do crazy things. And all it does is feed into this horrible industry. But every immigration consultant that's engaging in this, every crooked employer, I would love to see those businesses shut down. I'd love to see the consultants lose their ability to practice, be criminally charged, be literally deported from Canada if they immigrated here themselves. And like I said, Canadians, throw them in jail. I just have no patience for it. And it's hard. The desperation is so much that people just won't come forward. So as far as a charity, absolutely, those kinds of things, are not monetarily based, but they're based on, just trying to make this country that I love, that is my country of nationality, better each year for the people that are coming in, and not worse. And you guys obviously are just wonderful people. And, Amara, if I was to say, what can you do as far as sending money? Well, just let people know about what we're doing. Share with everyone the live streams that we do, the courses even that I'm promoting, or even our firm in general, those referrals that you send to us, Igor and myself and Alicia, those referrals really make a difference for us. And they encourage us to keep doing this, to keep giving back. And I think the first podcast episode that I launched was in 2014. I think I was one of the first immigration podcasts for Canada. And over the years, it's evolved into these live streams on YouTube, and we love doing this, and quick announcements when the government makes policy shifts. So this is all a method of just giving back and paying forward. And it's kind of a giver's gain philosophy. The belief is that by sharing helpful knowledge and allowing people to see, what we, our level of expertise and our knowledge, that when they do choose to retain someone to help them, that they'll think of us or subscribe to the courses or attend the master classes, right? So thank you so much. I know I took a little bit longer time there, Amara, but that is the world that we live in. So, that's the worst is the corruption. And unless people come forward, nothing will change. Nothing will change. All right, let's jump down here to the next question. And maybe, Igor, you can answer this one. So Ashna says, my employer is not giving experience reference letters, and my job description doesn't directly relate with the NOC code. Can I create a self-explanation letter to the visa officer? Would that be enough? So we'll assume this is in the context of express entry, Igor. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so first we want to open EE completeness check because the answer is hidden over there. But long story short, just providing the self-explanation letter would not be enough. So if you scroll down just a little bit, down at the bottom, you will see, yeah, so things that you can provide. Yeah, self-declared main duties and affidavits are not acceptable. Proof of self-employment, work experience, but they would also not work for your employed work experience. And so what you can do if you are unable to get a reference letter from your employer or your immediate supervisor, you want to provide the officer with proof that you performed duties that align with a specific NOC code, and that could be through the letters that you can collect from your colleagues, through the ROE if that's a Canadian work experience that shows your job title. It can be through contracts. It could be through other secondary evidence that confirms that you perform such and such duties. And then your other part of the question mentioned that your duties do not specifically align with the NOC code, which may signify that you chose the wrong NOC code, because you absolutely need to have a match. It should be a match of 100% of the lead statement at the top of the NOC code, and you should match at least 3 out of, I would say, 3/4 out of the main duties, mandatory main duties in the NOC code. So in that situation, I would recommend that you do a couple of things. There are a couple of options for you. First, I would recommend that you book a consult so we can talk in more detail about your situation and what you can do. And then the second option would be subscribe to our new Express Entry Accelerator 2024, because in the course we do have a document that shows what can you do if you cannot get a reference letter. It's exactly this one. And then the third one is you need to do your own research. And if you short on money, if you don't have ability to get a consult or speak to a lawyer and retain a lawyer or buy the course, then you would absolutely need to spend a little more time trying to find other evidence that would support your duties and show that you have an exact match with the NOC code that you should have chosen.
Yeah. And one thing I'll add as well here, in this completeness check, you can see this is mandatory. So in the letter, what you're trying to prove is these things right here. So job title, duties, responsibilities, job status, dates worked, number of hours per week, and annual salary plus benefits. And in the course, let's see if I can find it here. Yes. So this is in the existing course, the 2021. I'm literally recording the lesson for records of employment right away. What we have here, and what if I can't get a reference letter, basically is a whole list of different ideas and thoughts and brainstorming that's come up from 6-7 years, however long we've been at this express entry game, to compensate when employers are jerks, when they are not willing to give good reference letters. But duties and responsibilities is a massive area. And like Igor pointed out here, even though this explanation, let me just go here to the completeness check, even though this explanation here says if the person is self-employed, self-declared main duties or affidavits are not acceptable, absolutely, they are not acceptable in the context of employment either, which even would be less likely that they would allow you to just provide even if it's a sworn statement, they just don't accept it. So you need to consider where else you can get any support to show what your duties are. Did you have a contract at the beginning that included duties? Was there an offer letter that included duties and responsibilities? Has your job been advertised for? Like after you left work, did they post advertisements to fill your role? And are those out in the public domain? Are there internal intranet kind of type documents that are internal? Do you have supervisors that can provide you with a separate letter, or coworkers? Although coworkers are starting to get down. and there's kind of a hierarchy as well that we talk about. Someone who's currently working for the employer that you just left, that type of a letter is going to be more persuasive than someone who's no longer working for them. So, and a supervisor is better than just a coworker. But all of those documents you look at, where an individual can say these are the duties that are performed, because without having accuracy, and if you have any doubts about the NOC code, then you've got a whole host of issues that you're facing. And but yeah, self-explanation letter, it absolutely will not be enough. Yeah, it just won't.
And the list of documents that you can provide as proof that you performed specific duties would really depend on your specific situation. For some people, there is a website with their photo on it, and you can provide that just to confirm that, yes, you've been working for this company. For some people, there is no website at all. So it really comes down to what is your specific situation, and then you would need to digest all of the evidence that you potentially can get and then put them in a order that would be, yes, from most persuasive to least persuasive evidence.
Yeah. All right, Ivan asks a great question here, Igor. He says, hey, Mark, can someone with an expiring post-grad work permit apply for an open work permit if his spouse switches from an open work permit to a study permit? Yes, it is possible if you do it correctly, Ivan. It is possible to do that, and we have a number of clients and people that we've had consultations with that we've advised on this exact issue. So yes, this is a strategy. When employed correctly, it can allow you to then buy more time and to get more time working. And it really sucks because this is the challenge that we're facing with these annual levels plans. And I think people are not always aware of of how this all plays out. I'm just going to pull up if I can find it here. So let's just slide over and take a look at this. So this here is the levels plans for 2023 to 2025. And I think I heard, Igor, recently that there were about 1 million international students in Canada right now. Okay. And so we're not even talking about the previous ones that are graduating, becoming post-grad open work permit holders. But what we're looking at here, you guys, 2023, it's this year. So this year for the federal high skilled, which is essentially your federal skilled worker, your CEC, your federal skilled trade, there were 82,880 was their target. Now, more than likely, they're probably upper, in this higher range, but that's the total number of landings, okay? And then when we jump down here, then the provincial nominee programs alone have a little bit of a larger quota. Next year, what's waiting for everybody? Well, what's waiting here is only a marginal increase in overall targets, but the federal high skilled jumps to 109. Why does it jump to 109? Because the TR to PR pathway right here should finally be processed for 2023. So those ones then get added back into here, and we're still at about 110, right? Maybe 115 maximum, and the PNPs are about the same at 110, maybe 120. So at max, we're looking at what, 235,000 potential immigrants each year. And when we have international students alone that are sitting at about 1 million right now, there just isn't room for everybody to transition. So many people, just like you, Ivan, are in this situation where how do we stay? How do we increase our CRS scores? And all of this is covered in my course. We cover a ton of different things, and even these more narrow specialized areas, or where there's a change in policy or there's an update. We talk about all those in the master class. So the master classes are kind of like real-time updates that support and kind of are like we say in Canada, the gravy on the mashed potatoes, essentially, with the 65 lessons for the Express Entry course. They are all geared to give you everything that you really need to do to successfully file your application. But, if there are things that pop up, just literally a new announcement by the government, well, we talk about those, and we usually do a master class, more frequently on a month-to-month basis, but we'll see how it plays out. But I strongly encourage you guys, if you're just connecting in, just to let everybody know again that we're offering a special 50% off discount for our Express Entry Accelerator program, and I've renamed it Accelerator because it's specifically designed to help you sort through exactly what you need to do quickly. Because all of the lessons are on demand, you can pick and choose the ones that you feel you need assistance with. However, as I tell all of our clients who also use this when we're working with them, it pays to not skip lessons, because you'll get little nuggets embedded within those video lessons that you just weren't aware of. And of course, the master classes themselves are so awesome because you learn from the questions that other people ask. And countless times I've had people give me feedback after saying, oh, the masterclass was so helpful. I came in not really having any questions, but listening to the questions of other people, I hadn't even thought of those questions. And if that person had asked, I would have done something in my application that would have led to a refusal. And it was only because of those other questions that it cued in my mind it was something that I needed to pay attention to. So, so as far as accessing it, you can just go to the Canadian Immigration Institute website, and you'll see, if you're part of our newsletter, if you've subscribed to the newsletter, I'm going to be sending out a few more emails just to get people up to speed with what's happening, and really we'll have until December 31st, and then this Boxing Week, if you will, sale will come to an end. I have done it. I did it last year, one kind of 50% off thing, but this is something that you will not see throughout the rest of the year. I just won't do any more discounts. This is kind of like a special launch for the program. And like I said, when you purchase now, even if you're not ready to apply, you have access to everything for life. So all the updates, whatever you want, master classes. So anyone who's looking to purchase now is absolutely the time to subscribe, because it's a fraction of the cost that it normally would be. Just as a way to promote the new launch of really the 4th edition of the Express Entry course, which I now call Express Entry Accelerator. All right, let's see here. Here's a good comment. I'll get you to give your thoughts on this, Igor. Anurag says, hello, Mark and Igor. Happy holidays. Is it game over for people who do not have any Canadian connection, job experience, relative, basically in Canada? Is it game over, Igor?
Nope. I'm as ironic as I would sound, I think it's not. But it's close to a game over. Like with the recent changes, you have to be, again, as I love to say, either superhuman, or you have to know the trick, or you have to have connection to Canada. So what I mean by being a superhuman, you have to be 28, 29 max years of age, and you have to have 3 years of work experience, at least 1 year of Canadian work experience, Canadian education, maxed out in English skills. And even then, you would mostly likely not score enough to get an ITA under the general draw. So this brings me to another way how you can get an ITA. You have to know the trick, and the trick is, it was introduced this year, category-based draws. So you have to have work experience in one of the categories, or you have to know French. So knowing French would open the doors for you. You don't have to be a superhuman to know French, but you have to invest your time and efforts in learning this language. Otherwise, you have to have at least 6 months of work experience in one of the NOCs that belong to a category. We had a client who was working in agricultural industry in Iran, and he was not a superhuman. He's just a regular person, just like every one of us. But he got an ITA, not even having any connection to Canada. He'd never been to Canada, but he received an ITA. That's a good example of how just being in the right place at the right time and having the right work experience and exposure to other languages can help you. So you have to think strategically as to what is your long-term plan. If you want to immigrate to Canada and you don't have work experience in a specific NOC code, maybe take a look. Maybe you can switch your careers. Maybe you can do some training and change your NOC codes to get a job in the NOC code that is in one of the categories. 6 months later, you are eligible to get drawn under the category. And you don't have to have 500 points to get drawn. Some categories require some 430 score. 388, I think, was the minimum score that was under one of the categories. We have to take a look.
Yeah, I think
But it is
footage.
absolutely possible to get an ITA without any connection to Canada.
So December the 21st was the last one. It was an ag draw, and 400 invitations were issued, and the low was 386.
386.
If we go back to the previous rounds, you can see that as soon as they pop up here, you can see that they're definitely lower than the generals, right? So trade and transport and ag are all lower CRS totals. And, STEM is still relatively high. But if you look at the French, when they do large draws of French, this was 470. And remember, people who have French are likely getting, 50 points anyways as a bonus. But 470 here, 486. This one's a little bit higher just because it's a tiny little, dinky little draw. And then 500 here. But we did have a big French one here, 3,800, which pulled the score down even for French to 375, which is pretty crazy. It really is.
And there was 354, if I'm not mistaken. If you scroll down.
Yeah, for ag again, 354, there were 600. Yeah.
So it is possible. And I have to add here, even having connection to Canada, ties to Canada, like Canadian work experience or Canadian education or having Canadian relative, is not a guarantee that you get an ITA. All of those thousands of international students who came to Canada, worked in Canada, got their education in Canada, sometimes even they cannot get an ITA. And sometimes even they have to choose strategically what NOG they work in so that they can get an ITA under one of the category-based selections. So it is possible. Don't get discouraged.
Yep. All right, we're into overtime here. We'll just hit a couple more. Ashna says, if I retake the IELTS test and God forbid I score less, do I have a choice to submit only the best results with IRCC, or has to be the latest one? As long as it's valid, you can submit whatever you want. If you write the IELTS and don't do as well, and then you write the CELPIP and do better, you can use the CELPIP. If you write the IELTS and then write the CELPIP and the CELPIP is worse, you can keep the IELTS. If you write the IELTS, don't do as good, or do okay, and then you write it again and do worse, well, you can take whichever one you want as long as it's still valid within 2 years. So remember the expiry dates, their validity is 2 years for that. All right, and then we'll pull up Zenny. Zenny says, does a previous refusal of a study and work permit affect a decision on your PR application? What's your view on that, Igor?
It does not, as long as you disclose it.
Yeah.
If you not disclose it, say goodbye to Canada, pack your suitcase, because your application will get refused.
This is an interesting one here, Igor. I was just looking at this. Joe's great follower, longtime follower. He says, hey, a little thing I noticed on your website, the button link for check our legal fees loops back to the homepage, not on the fee page, might affect the conversion of people visiting. So let's just take a look at this.
I just found it. Yeah, if you scroll
Did you figure
down,
it out? So which one is it? Because here,
it's at the bottom of the page.
This one doesn't matter, but on the bottom,
it's the bottom of the page, right, just a little bit above.
Yeah, check our legal fees right here. Okay, so it loops back. So obviously, if anyone's up here and they say our fees and they click on our fees, and we're very transparent, everyone. We post our fees that we charge right on our site so that there's no misunderstanding. When it comes to business immigration and work permits and things like that, generally speaking, for our business immigration clients, sometimes we can do large volumes for companies, and so in that situation, we definitely have case customized fee structures, but we try to make everything as transparent as possible for everyone. So thanks, appreciate that, Joe. That's awesome. Okay, let's wrap up maybe with Carlos here. Carlos says, hello, after applying to Express Entry, I realized that the wrong tier number was chosen. I entered the NOC 00012 as my actual, and my actual one is 10021 as per the employer's letter. Should I decline the ITA? So this is a big question, and Carlos, I think both Igor and I would ring the bell and say slide over and actually go to our website here, and at the top of all the pages you can click on speak to a lawyer and book a consult, and we can look at that. I would never advise anyone to decline an ITA or proceed forward without knowing a whole lot more about their situation. There's a concept called, it's Section 11.2 of the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act that specifically speaks to what happens when there is a change from an express entry profile between what you put into an EAPR, including knock codes. And just to kind of provide a little bit of direction, because I always like to still, even though the question specifically you're asking, I can't tell you. Generally speaking, you look at two things. If the change from what you put in your profile to your EAPR affects your eligibility under one of the economic programs, then you can get your application rejected. Or if your CRS score is affected and falls below the round of invitation levels, that can also get your application rejected. If neither of those things happen, then a properly worded letter of explanation, like the one we teach in the course or we use with our clients, may be able to save things. But in some cases, it may just not make sense to do that, but to decline. So in your situation, I recommend you book a consult, and then we can kind of go from there. All right. I don't know if there's anything else here. I know there's a lot of questions that we didn't get to that all relate to express entry. I'm just looking here to see if there's any high-level stuff. Okay. I couldn't help myself here. Kevin, what are you saying here? So Kevin's talking about Minister Miller here. He says, is a bad Santa whose gifts deemed to be finished. All right. Okay, everybody has an opinion here. We'll leave it at that. Okay, and thank you, Kevin. He says, we wish you a Merry Christmas and we wish you a Merry Christmas. Oh, and a Happy New Year. Oh, he's singing. He's got the lyrics going there. Thanks so much, Kevin. That really means a lot. Okay, and Joe says, just verifying, is it true that the EE course is on sale now at 50% off? Can I just consume the content if I can't join any live sessions? Absolutely. Joe, this is a perfect example. So remember that when you subscribe to the course, you have access on demand to all of the course materials, okay? All of them. And the 2024 version, I am just about completed all of the videos for the profile, which are really the most important videos. And everything will be completed by December 31st. But when you subscribe, not only will you get access to everything that's there already, and you'll get access to the new 2024 version, which is, I've created almost the first 3 modules already, and the rest will be done here this week, literally. You'll get access to all of that for life. The master classes are available. Sometimes I shift them around in terms of the start time. Usually they're kind of between 4 to 5 p.m. Mountain Time, but if that time doesn't work for people, the beauty of the course is that you can post all your questions in the community group. And then when I do the masterclass sessions, I go in and I make sure that I answer every one of those questions that are in there. And you get access to those live recordings for life as well, if you want to watch them. So it doesn't matter what the situation is, doesn't matter where you live all over the world, you can have full benefit to everything within the course and you get it for life. Great question, Joe. Thanks for pointing that out. Okay. Okay, so Faisal says he's complaining that I didn't answer his question here. You answered Amara's, but I asked my question before her and you missed my question. Faisal, we don't answer every question. We don't. If we feel like a question is not of general importance or something that's going to benefit the majority of the group, or Faisal, if I don't know the answer to it, I'm not going to pull it up. And it may be that I don't know the answer to your question, but I'm an equal opportunity person, and let's see what it says. OINP. I don't know every answer to the OINP. Received the nomination December 14th, but my IELTS is about to expire on the 2nd of April, which is before I may get the ITA. So if I give another IELTS score less, with my 600 points be revoked. Okay, I don't know if you're... Ultimately, rewrite the bloody test, okay? Never leave yourself in a situation where your IELTS could be expiring, okay? You don't have control. You don't know when you're going to get a round of invitation, an ITA, so rewrite the test, okay? If I give another IELTS and score less, well, if your other test is still valid, you can use that test as long as it's still valid. But if it's expired, then you're defaulted to use the one that you have, and you need to update your profile with the new result. That's how it works, Faisal. There you go. Look at that. See, even though I'm telling Faisal he's not very nice to complain about not getting his free question answered, I will still answer it because that's how I'm wired. So there you go, Faisal. Okay, I think we've got just about everything covered here. I don't know if you see anything else, Igor, that's we should
Question
address.
from Kevin.
What's that?
The last question from Kevin.
Mark, do you like the law? I love immigration law. The rest of the law, not much. There we go. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks so much. And we wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas. I don't even know if I have any Christmas. I don't even think I have any Christmas ones. No, I used to. But then guess what happened? Facebook was blocking the music and YouTube said I didn't have the rights to it, even though I actually bought all the songs. So now we're pretty select in what we put in here. So we'll wrap up with Old Faithful here. All right, guys, thanks so much. We'll be back next week again, I think, for another live. As I've indicated before, the masterclass and our new Express Entry Accelerator is now open for pre-sale. 50% off. All you have to do is use this coupon EEAccelerate24 and you'll get 50% off. It's only valid until the end of 2023, you guys. All right. Thanks, Igor.